Normally, I'm going to wait until the soles of my sneakers or shoes wear through before replacing them. However, for my favorite Chuck Taylors, the iconic Converse All Star, soles are still fine, but you know, they've seen better days, and you know, it's kind of tearing through right here. So you know, time to buy a new pair. And couldn't find the high tops in my size. Backing up for a second, Converse is now owned by Nike. It has been since the early 2000s. I think Converse was going into bankruptcy or was in bankruptcy, and Nike swooped in and bought them. And until now, putting aside some ridiculous versions of the shoes they've put out, uh, you know, the Nike owned version has been of the Chuck Taylors have been fine. Uh, no longer made. They were no longer made in the United States. I used to love the fact that these were the last iconic sneaker made in the United States, but you know that's no more. This pair made in hurry, made in Indonesia, and I think they're made in China now as well. So time to replace this pair. Under Nike ownership, it seems like the sizes run a bit large. You know, if you think you take a certain size, you know, probably go down a half size if you're going to get them. So anyway, couldn't find high tops in my size, so I decided to go for a low top. And Nike has kind of Nikeized the Chuck Taylor All Star. Fortunately, at least they're calling them something different. It's the Chuck 2 or the Chuck Taylor 2 or the All Star 2 or something like that. It's the blah 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 2, Roman numeral 2. And so I bought a low top pair, thinking, you know, I'm probably not going to like this. Not a huge Nike fan to begin with. And here's what the low top version looks like. Still got the brown sole. This particular version is made in Vietnam, and there's difference. You know, you can see the stitching is different. You know, you got white stitching along the eyelets here, and the eyelets here are silver instead of all black. The shoelaces that came with it for the new version, Chuck Taylor 2. That's what the back looks like. Came with both black and white. The black was already half laced up, so I just left the black in. So it really is a different look. I kind of went into this wanting to really not like the Nikeized version of what Nike already owns now, anyway. But there's some differences. The Converse 2, the Chuck Taylor 2, comes with this insole. Converse with Lunar Lawn. I'm not sure what that is. I think it means it has electrolytes. So the interior is really comfortable. You know, the old version just had, I don't know, kind of a flat bottom. You know, the originals are very minimalistic. And it's a canvas. The originals are a canvas shoe. You know, just canvas lining there. The new version has, you may not be able to see it, but the interior is not, I don't know what material it is, but there's just a teeny bit of padding in there. And same with the tongue. The tongue has some padding in there. And also, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's got this little strappy thing in here, an elastic strap to keep the tongue from flying out for all the millennials that don't want to lace up their shoes. Millennials, man, they're ruining everything. But anyway, I kind of went into this wanting to not like the shoe. I don't really entirely like the style, you know, with the way the stitching is and the eyelets are compared to the original. Putting aside the fact that these are filthy right now. But, yeah, I wanted to not like it, but it's comfortable. It's a very comfortable shoe. It's kind of growing on me. I don't know if I could get the Chuck 2 and a high top. To me, the high top black is just iconic. The original is just iconic. I think on the high top version of the new version, instead of being kind of like silk screened or pressed on, this patch is embroidered on. And you're definitely paying more, for this. Probably, $25-30 more for this compared to this, if not more. Super comfortable. I gotta give him that, man. I hate that I like it so much, but I like it. So anyway, that's the this is the reissue version of the Chuck Taylor 2. You had a good solid performer, and then they kind of went with the 180 gram tip on 45 RPM version of and called it the Chuck 2. And man, as much as I hate reissues, generally speaking, did a really good job. Hi there, everybody. My name's Tom. You're watching High Rant District, and now I want to show the stack of records I've been listening to over the last 2 days. Starting off with, trigger warning if anybody is, susceptible to those. It's the name of the band. This is the Retards. Their debut record, Teenage Hate. This is on Goner Records. Came out in 1998. 1998. It's a debut album. I do believe lead singer Jay Retard passed away recently, somewhat recently. This is punk music from Memphis, Tennessee. Here's a look at what the label looks like. Very raw, a lot of fun to listen to. This came with an insert showing the band members and some credits, photos by Joe Cole. Anyway, really good record. Very raw, but really enjoyable. Let's see. Next up, debut album by a band called the Dwarfs. It's Horror Stories. This came out in 1986 on Vox Records. And, when you think of the Dwarfs, I kind of think of more of a hardcore sound. The first album, though, Horror Stories, is I don't want to say psych, but it's more lo-fi. They definitely had a change in their sound from their first album to the second album, which was Blood, Guts, and Pussy, which I like a lot. It's on Vox. And it came with an insert. It's two-sided. It's got the lyrics on one side. And essentially the flip side is just a listing of the different records they had at the time. And you could send away for the records. $7 per LP. Those were the days. Next one. This is the Rocks Records Underground Series, number 3. This is Oracle, Sela. It's the debut EP from Oracle. Rocks Records has this underground series of... back up a second. Rocks Records is a Christian metal label, and Scott Waters is heavily involved with them. And Scott probably did the design on this. Kind of comes with a J card sort of thing. It's got the lyrics inside. So it's not a traditional album cover. So these underground series, they've been really good so far. This is number 3. The first one was One Row of Vision by Steve Rowe. And all of these underground, the Rocks Records Underground series so far are limited editions, limited to 150 each, and they're numbered if you care about that sort of thing. This one is actually number 24 out of 150. But the second in this series was Into the Pit by Scott's band Ultimatum. That was fantastic. And this one, it's traditional. What do you call it? It's power metal. With the really high screeching voice. It sounds so good. And it's kind of all of these records. This Rocks Underground series, a little pricey in my opinion. It did come in a poly sleeve. You got a little insert talking about the history of Oracle. I don't think they were a band for very long. I didn't expect this. I'm not sure they expected it either, but it came with the CD of the album too. And here's what the label looks like. And there's a flip side, says Rocks Records. Excellent album. Glad I got it. Next one I'm going to show is No Depression. It's No Depression is the name of the album. It's by Uncle Tupelo. Uncle Tupelo is Jay Farrar, Jeff Tweedy, and I don't remember who the drummer is. This came out on Rockville Records in 1990, kind of country rock. Debut album by Uncle Tupelo, and this is kind of the beginnings of Wilco. This came out in 1990. It's a well-regarded album, and I think a few years later, 1993, 1994, Jeff Tweedy left and founded Wilco. That's what the label looks like. Next up, it's got a couple more. 2, 3, maybe 4. Debut by Fugazi Repeater. That's what the backside looks like. Punk, hardcore. That's what the label looks like. Came out on Discord. Flip side just says 2. So from 1990. It's the original inner sleeve. Pictures of the band. And then nearly impossible to read lyrics on the backside. And it also came with a Discord order sheet flyer on the inside from way back when. Again, let's see what's the price guide. Pricing $6, $5, $3. Man, times have changed. Excellent album. I love Fugazi. Ian MacKaye really doesn't do anything badly. Next up, we've got Sonic Youth's album Sister, or as it says on the back, The Sonic Youth. This came out in 1987 on SST Records. It says SST down there. This is the original cover. It got censored, and so it was changed in subsequent versions. Oddly enough, the censoring had nothing to do with the half-naked woman here or the naked little boy here. The problem was Disney. Sure, Disney didn't like that image being on the album, so this got covered up in later releases. And also, this picture of this young girl is by a well-known photographer, and I guess that picture was used without permission, so that got covered up in later versions. It's Sonic Youth's 4th, 5th, 6th album, somewhere around there. It's Sonic Youth. It sounds fantastic. It's a really great album. Here's the label on SST. And it came with an insert. What is this? Lyrics. Yeah. 2-sided insert. Some lyrics and some liner notes on it. Next up, second to last album, The Descendants. Everything Sucks. But this album doesn't suck. It's fucking great. Sixth album, fifth album, I don't know, by the Descendants. I've got the first two, and I've got their most recent one, Hypercaphium Spasonate. That one's not good. This is fantastic. Let's look at the back. You know, good, solid, fast punk. Very, but catchy. A lot of catchy stuff in there. Here's the label. And it came with an insert as well. Picture of Milo sitting on the top of the toilet, leaving an upper decker, it looks like. An upper decker, the upper deck, if you're not familiar with the United States or baseball, the upper deck is the top of the outfield. When you hit a home run, like a long ball out of the park, it scores a run and other runs. So it's an upper deck. And why am I even relating this to baseball? Because there's upper decks in all stadiums, no matter what the sport. But an upper deck, if somebody pisses you off, leaving an upper decker in their bathroom is a good way to get back at them. It's when you take the lid off the top of the toilet and you drop a deuce in the top. That's an upper decker. Don't ask how I know that. You got lyrics on the back. Great album. Last one I'm going to show is an album by Guru from where is this? 1993. It's called Jazzmatazz Volume 1. Now, it's probably fairly well known at this point. I'm not a big jazz fan. Don't know why I just can't grasp it, but I'm going to tell you, this is a hybrid. It's rap and jazz combined, and for whatever reason, that combination works. It's worked in the other artists I've heard do it. It kind of has the old going back to like a Tribe Called Quest. Not terribly jazzy, but the flavor is there. But this is very, very, very jazzy, but with rap over it. The last song, Sights in the City, man, that was so good. I'll see if I can find a song from each of these albums. I'll link them in the description below. But just a great album. Gifted Unlimited Rhymes Universal. It's Guru is an acronym. It's the artist's name, but GURU, Gifted Unlimited Rhymes Universal, I think. Keith Elam, I think, is the name of the artist. In real life, Here's a look at the label. Really fantastic album. And there you have it. 7 or 8 albums that I've been spinning lately. And thanks also if you put up with it, putting up with my babbling about inconsequential footwear that's more consequential than it should be to me. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Cheers.